Best quote for students. If you build it, they will come. Hey, Mr. School Counselor. Welcome home, everyone. To my new viewers and subscribers, this place is also for you. Before we get into this week's topic, make sure you're subscribing, dingling on the little bell, or whatever it is people say, smashing, ringing it. Just make sure, though, you're getting this information. This week, what do we have in store? You've heard it before. Book smarts, street smarts. Is it good to have both? Is it better to have one or the other when it comes to education? That's what we're going to be going into this week. So grab yourself some popcorn, relax, take a seat back. Make sure this is time for you. And remember, this is for everyone. So school counselors, students, parents, admission counselors, hear it because you don't know who needs this information. With that being said, let's get right into it. Welcome to the Mr. School Counselor Show. Alright students, so the objective this week is not to tell you that if you are book smart, completely drop it and go to street smart, or vice versa. If you're street smart, you should just eliminate it and just go to book smart. No. That's not what we're talking about here. It's more in the sense of you need both. You need book smarts to survive. You need street smart to survive, especially in your current state. You're in high school. You see, the book smart ability is going to help you when it comes to your test taking, to improve your GPA, the SATs, the ACTs, to get into the college choice that you prefer. The street smart, that's going to be the other avenue. That's going to be, what schools do I apply for? When I am running for a certain position, let's just say student council, how do I say what I feel? How do I get my message across so that others can hear it? That's where your street smart capabilities come in. Let's go back to book smart. OxfordDictionary.com defines book smart as obtaining knowledge through reading and studying, not by practical experience. When you're reading, when you're studying, you can grasp a lot of facts and information from different sources, different things. The question is though, can you apply it? Now there are some common myths out there. I'm going to quote the source right now. I'm just going to share a couple of them with you as they pertain to book smart. Or being book smart, I should say. So, common myths are being book smart. You are antisocial. Interviews are hard. Quick thinking isn't you. You're a follower. See, these are some myths that people feel when it comes to being book smart. Can you get the job done? You may know all the information, but can you get the job done? Students, this is important. Because the higher you get in your education, let's just say, for example, you do or you do not decide to go to college, you're going to have to work. You're going to have to go into the career force. You're going to have to go into the real world. You're going to have an interview. There may be a question that you weren't expecting. How do you answer that question? Can you be quick off your feet to give the information, to give the correct answer? That's what people feel is missing or lack in other parties that are book smart. Now, when I think of someone that's book smart, I think of a doctor, I think of lawyers, because they read a lot and they have to grasp the information. But this doesn't mean that they don't have any street smart abilities or skills. Remember, there's a balance. You need one with the other. Where do you lie? What do you need? The question lies within you. You know yourself better than anyone else. Do you need help understanding the etiquette, I guess you can say, of being social? The basics of an interview. What to say if a question you don't think of comes up. These are things that you can apply, but you have to do the work. You see, being book smart, I'm sure you can find that information, whether it's in a book, whether it's in the internet. Now let's turn that page. Let's go to street smart. With street smart, you get your difficult situations, you get your experience from difficult situations, you get your experience from being practical, which means you can probably think on your feet. And if the common myth in book smart is you can't think on your feet, maybe that's something that you'd like to have. Now let's go into the common myths of being street smart. So a common myth is you're uneducated, you can't write well. Now let's stop right there. Street smarts, you tend to get an experience or a level of understanding of things that have happened in the past, whether they've been difficult, whether they haven't. A lot of people say with book smart people is common sense is not so common, and I get it. I wish I could find one for street smarts, but I can't. However, it doesn't mean that street smarts is the end all be all. This is gonna sound it's gonna be like a catch-22. Because you're street smart does not mean that you're not educated. You can be an educated street smart person. That's where the experience comes in. This third word goes hand in hand with both smarts. It's not really spoken of that much, but it is important, extremely important. And that's intelligence. Intelligence is acquiring and applying the knowledge to any field, any specific opportunity. You may not have had academic opportunities as others have, but this doesn't mean that you're not bright. You can be brilliant. Some people, it just comes to them. Some people, they're born with it. That's where intelligence is. Imagine being street smart and intelligent. That's amazing. Now imagine being book smart and intelligent. That's double amazing as well. You can have all three. That's great. You just gotta find the balance. Before we wrap this up, I wanna make sure I leave you with 3 pointers, or 3 tips, I guess I could say. 3 tips on if you're book smart, how to work on being street smart, and vice versa. If you're street smart, how do I work on being book smart? I'll start with being book smart and how to develop being street smart. Number 1, be aware of your surroundings. If you're walking around, if you see that, you have your headphones on and you have your cell phone out, everyone's doing it. But be aware of your surroundings. You might find yourself in a place where your phone shouldn't be out. Or, let's say for example, your wallet is out. These are the type of things, or purse I should say, these are the type of things that you just have to be a little more cautious of. Number 2, and I'm gonna say this for both, make friends. Start hanging around people you feel have a little more street edginess than you do. You may be able to pick up a thing or two. And don't be afraid to ask them. Street smart people are always willing to help, as book smart people. And if you understand that one, we are all willing to help. And tip number 3, if you're traveling abroad or you're somewhere that, you consider yourself a tourist, try to see what others around the community are doing or buying. So for example, let's say you see that, and I'll say the word locals. Let's say you see locals buying something or buying some type of food that they eat. Try it out. Immerse yourself into their culture. Don't go and be fancy. Fancy can get you in trouble. Now let's switch on over to street smart and grabbing a little bit more book smart edginess. Tip number 1, read. Read a lot. Whether it's an online, whether it's a magazine, the reason you want to read is if we say that book smart people grasp information from books, give it a shot. Tip number 2, make some friends. Go to the library and make some friends. You are street smart. There's a possibility you know how to communicate. You may have the gift of gab, which means you know how to talk a lot. Make some friends. Ask a question. Hey, never hurts. And tip number 3, study. If you have an upcoming test, and I'm not saying that you don't do this, but study. Write it down. Try different styles or different techniques to help you better study for the opportunity or the exam you're about to take. All right, students, remember, this is not to sway you one way or the other. If you are book smart, you need to be street smart as well. And if you are street smart, you need to be book smart as well. We want to make sure you get into your college the smoothest way possible. This is with you putting the work in and with you understanding what colleges are looking for. With that being said, I want to thank you once again, and we'll see you next week.